Startup founders have numerous paths to fundraising: friends and family, angel investors, bank loans, venture capital, etc. Though banks are traditionally the main source of financing for small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, on average, many SMEs face great difficulties in obtaining loans and other forms of financial assistance due to an extensive list of prerequisites. This is why they may resort to alternative forms of financing, such as equity crowdfunding instead. In this episode, we'll take a look at the pros and cons of equity crowdfunding for your business. But before we go too far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next videos on the best equity crowdfunding platforms to use. What is equity crowdfunding? Equity crowdfunding, also known as crowd investing or investment crowdfunding, is a method of raising capital used by startups and early-stage companies. Essentially, equity crowdfunding offers the company's securities to a number of potential investors in exchange for financing. Each investor is entitled to a stake in the company proportional to their investment. Equity crowdfunding is quite different from other crowdfunding methods, such as rewards crowdfunding and donation crowdfunding. The model provides a more conventional capital raising method by offering financial securities to investors. The crowdfunding process is carried out on specialized online platforms such as WeFunder and StartEngine. The digital nature of the crowdfunding platform fosters a more liberal and open way of financing. How equity crowdfunding works. You can choose from a wide range of online crowdfunding platforms. These platforms not only give you a framework for collecting investments, but they also offer additional features and services like support, marketing, and multiple ways of accepting payment. These platforms are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. There are limitations on contributions from individuals to protect them from getting overly enthusiastic about investments. Companies are limited in how much they can raise, but it's still a hefty sum, up to $50 million in a 12-month period, depending on which tier of fundraising you go for, all of which are regulated. Companies must be based in the US or Canada. Josh Amster is Vice President of Sales for StartEngine, a popular equity crowdfunding platform. He recommends that startup founders consider various aspects when choosing a crowdfunding platform. How much does a platform cost? And does it accept forms of payment like a credit card or Bitcoin? For example, StartEngine brands itself by guiding startups through the process from onboarding and marketing services to legal and financial guidance. It also has a compliance team and an investors services team. This is the value of a crowdfunding platform. It's a turnkey solution for startups to access capital, and it's a way for the public to get in early, even before the IPO, with the startups of their choice. Key differences between equity crowdfunding and traditional crowdfunding. Crowdfunding refers to raising money from the public through online forums, social media, and crowdfunding websites like GoFundMe and Kickstarter. On the other hand, equity crowdfunding involves exchanging relatively small amounts of cash, allowing investors to own a proportionate slice of equity in the business. Each investor gives a relatively small amount, typically at least $1,000, but sometimes less. In other words, equity crowdfunding is an investment arrangement. As the company grows, each investor's stake may appreciate in value. When a successful company sells itself to another firm or launches an initial public offering, IPO, shareholders may realize a substantial return on their investment. Restrictions on equity crowdfunding offerings. Before you decide whether or not to adopt this fundraising method, here's a list of the pros and cons of equity crowdfunding. Pros of equity crowdfunding. 1. Alternative to traditional financing. When you need to raise funds in a short period of time, equity crowdfunding is an effective option. The user-friendly process makes creating and publishing campaigns happen in no time. Equity crowdfunding is also a great option because it's easy to customize your homepage and you can easily share your activities or campaigns. 2. You get to gauge interest in your business, get expert feedback, and suggestions for improvement. Believe it or not, but equity crowdfunding is surprisingly a good way to test the audience reaction or attraction to your business product or idea. If people are willing to invest in it, then that's a good sign that your idea might work well in the market. Equity crowdfunding allows you to quickly and inexpensively verify ideas in the market and provide the information you need to justify investments in the research, planning, and analysis phase. This is required to bring those ideas to market. Feedback on market demand, product demand, and improvements are needed and play an important role in any business. However, you must be able to define what quality feedback is to your business. 3. Investors can track progress of your campaign. This can help you promote your brand online. Equity crowdfunding platforms provide fundraising statistics to help you monitor the progress of your investments. These platforms will be equipped with the right infrastructure for you to easily identify your investor and information about their background. Understanding why your campaign was successful or not will play a major role in creating returning investors to upcoming campaigns. 4. Investors can often be the most loyal customers in the fundraising process. The most impressive feat about investment crowdfunding is when a company is able to convert its most loyal customers into their investors. Investor retention, could be argued, is about paying attention to existing investors and looking for creative and compelling solutions and ways to make them loyal investors. Investor loyalty is considered to be two components: attitude and behavior. Attitude reflects an individual's intent to reinvest and encourage others to invest, and behavior determines the retention pattern. To increase investor confidence in reinvesting, short-term advertising and marketing activities such as loyalty programs are encouraged. Cons of equity crowdfunding. 1. Not all projects or businesses are eligible for equity crowdfunding. Most equity crowdfunding activities are successful in the B2C, business-to-consumer market. You don't usually see the same success in B2B, business-to-business startups. The differences between B2B and B2C companies play a major role, particularly when it comes to investments in crowdfunding. Business direction affects investment opportunities, hence focusing on corporate and client projects is a promising way to understand crowdfunding behavior. However, B2B has been gaining more attraction over time. Therefore, investors may view B2B products as a more promising opportunity. In this case, the product nature of a technically complex B2B business is related to the direction of the B2B marketplace and the overall B2B experience. This largely depends on the investment community. If you look at a product that has a clear and specific impact on the end consumers, you'll quickly recognize why it's usually more successful for B2C outfits than B2B companies. Their goal is clear and their investment is more active. End consumers may find it harder to relate to other forms of non-customer businesses, and hence their value is uncertain. 2. Choosing the right crowdfunding platform will take up your time and resources. Many entrepreneurs do not appreciate the time, energy, and planning needed to complete a crowdfunding exercise. Regular communication with investors, detailed financial reports, forecasts, POA, plan of action for investment funds, etc. These are standard operating methods, SOPs, and are required before the crowdfunding activity begins. Learning about crowdfunding brands and services are important in determining the right crowdfunding platform. Product quality and reputation are important factors and should be a priority. A valid certificate can increase the reliability of your products. For example, you can get a trademark registration certificate. These measures need to be undertaken. Otherwise, entrepreneurs will run the risk of being deemed unprofessional. 3. Your business idea could be stolen if you don't patent or copyright your business idea. Perhaps the biggest problem with crowdfunding is idea theft. Due to crowdfunding being conducted in the public forum, entrepreneurs may be vulnerable to fraudulent attacks with their ideas stolen and passed on to other investors and businesses. Is equity crowdfunding regulated? Equity crowdfunding is still a new phenomenon, only emerging since the turn of the century. Hence, some countries have only recently passed regulations regarding such fundraising methods, while other countries implement only loose generic regulations. One of the major goals of regulation is the protection of investors, because the fundraising model is potentially prone to fraud. The biggest leap for equity crowdfunding regulation occurred in the United States with the introduction of the Jumpstart Our Business (Jobs Act) in 2012. The law allows the participation of both accredited and non-accredited investors in equity crowdfunding. Also, the Act established limitations on the amount of funds that can be raised by companies, as well as on the amount that can be invested by each investor. Equity crowdfunding is a great alternative to get funding than the traditional route. It's proven to be effective for many new startup companies. However, remember to consider the costs, the pros, the cons, and the federal regulation associated with it. That's it for this episode. Please give us your feedback in the comments section below. To watch more episodes on financial topics like this, hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to support us even more, buy us a coffee from the link in the description. Good luck and see you in the next episode.